Amey.
Good evening, Rajneesh. Good to see you,
Wow,
man.
absolutely. It's such a delight to see you. That smiling face of yours. And believe me, I mean, this was one conversation which I always wanted to get into because we have met, fairly recently, I would say. But there is great amount of bonding which one could immediately connect with. And I thought, who else better than, who could be better than having you as my first guest on Twist Talks?
Hey, so delighted to hear that, and the feeling is mutual. We've met recently, but the bond, the camaraderie is just amazing. I think it just comes from our passion to do good work and to share
Yeah,
our
yeah,
knowledge. So I think
absolutely.
that's what connects us both.
Absolutely. And your profession always fascinated me, Amay. Honestly, business coaching is something, which is like, the Krishna ka avatar bolte hain na. He's the one who's actually guiding. And there is so much of guidance which is needed for entrepreneurs, business owners. And when you have that kind of, caliber, capability, and so much of knowledge, like how you possess, I think that makes a big difference. So delighted, absolutely delighted to have you here, Amay, today. Thank you so much for accepting this.
And thank you for having me
Sure,
on
sure.
the
So
on
let's,
on the on Twist Talks. Like I said,
thank you so much.
it's a
Thank you.
brilliant opportunity.
So let's get going. I have, some questions to ask you, with the objective of knowing you, with the objective of, even helping your business as well. So that's the whole idea behind this. But I want to know, I didn't want rather to have this show something of a kind of, a pure interview, because I'm sure you are a part of many, many forums, speaking organizations where you express yourself. But, I deliberately call this as a twist talks because what is the other thing which we can know about Ambai? That's the whole idea behind this. Yeah.
On the spot and twisted on the spot, I would say.
Super. I'm glad I'm hitting the nail on its head already. Cool. So let me start. My very first question, actually, when I went through your profile, I was, delighted. Again, it's a very small word I can use, but I was absolutely wondering what wow, that wow came to me immediately, and particularly, that that career of yours, which has shifted from a systems
Hmm.
analyst to an executive coach, sort of an IT to a coaching background. So, what was the moment actually when you really realized that coaching is the thing for you? When was that which actually started that you can unleash your potential over there?
So quite honestly, Rajneesh, this seed of becoming a coach was planted by a person whom I'm really valuing the most. He probably doesn't even know me now because I was one of those 220 odd people sitting in a workshop in London
Hmm.
when I was working for Aviva, and
Right.
we were talking about building resilience, managing adversity. Because in those days, 2007, there was a lot of headwinds for the insurance industry, and I used to work for Aviva, the
Hmm.
fifth largest insurer in the in those days.
Hmm.
And our leadership team had organized a workshop where something that the way he presented or facilitated those sessions for about 1.5 days, it just stayed with me. I said, man, what power this person is having. He can
Hmm.
make people shift from where they are to the kind of journey they want to have. And one of the things that I had shared with him, Dr. Paul Stolz, that's his name, is that, if ever I've got to do anything for me, it will be coaching.
Hmm.
But obviously, for the next 11, 12 years, life happened and priorities in life happened. And coaching was, uh, it was always there. Like, you say there's always something at the back of your mind or in the subconscious mind that
Right.
eventually, when the time is right, the opportunity will present itself and you will jump into it. So that opportunity for me came in 2019, and then I did not look back. Obviously, I
Hmm.
did my certification well after that in 2021. Um, but I've always enjoyed working with people. I've always loved the fact that all of us, we always need to have someone in their lives who, kind of enable them or empower them to do better than where they are today, because that
Hmm.
journey is more fascinating than the one that's scripted for us without, that support. I just love being that Sarathi, because we were talking about Krishna. So I
Yeah.
love being that Sarathi and taking that
Yeah.
chariot ahead, or steering that chariot ahead. So I kind of resonate with that analogy, because that is it, man. If somebody calls me, "You're my Krishna," makes my day.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot get bigger and better than that, isn't it, really? Wow. But, you come from an IT background, which is, very technical, very process oriented, I'm sure, and it is well written from an IT perspective. So coaching is more about interacting with people, more about the people management issue, because while you are keen to share your knowledge and help them grow, I'm sure they need to have those right kind of years also. So when you had your core values of freedom, love, abundance, and I love this word abundance, how do you bring these into your everyday work with your clients? Like basically, kaise shuru hota hai? How has there been a moment where one of these values were tested, where you are trying to preach them, but it doesn't work for some reason, or it works sometimes for some reason?
First and foremost, a really good question. Nobody asks me about this, right?
Hmm.
Um, why did I choose those values?
Hmm.
Because I believe that there are three things that we always love to have in our life. Whatever we do, whether it's our relationships, whether it's the kind of wealth we are generating, whether it's our business or job or profession that we are in, uh, at the end of it, we are all trying to achieve a lot of freedom for ourselves, and we do it because we love doing it. And through
Hmm.
that comes the concept of abundance, right? Let me tell
Hmm.
you, let me ask you it, or share it with you in this way. If you don't love doing what you're doing right now on twist talks, would you ever do twist talks?
Oh, no way. No way. Absolutely.
Would you not have the thought of doing it in your way? Let's say somebody's just scripted it for you and said, Rajesh, come and do it. And you don't
Absolutely.
align with the concept, the principle of it, the freedom that you get to do it. Would you do it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that's the
The answer
first
is
trait
obviously
of an
no.
entrepreneur, without which I don't think he can ever flourish in his life, really.
Absolutely. And so when I looked at things around me, and trust me, this whole concept of freedom, love, and abundance wasn't
Hmm.
really that evident in the way I started coaching initially,
Hmm.
but it just slowly appeared, or it came through. I said,
Hmm.
when I work with people, what am I looking in them that they want to get, and how I, with the things that I am aligned with, can help them achieve that. That's when
Hmm.
these three words, and they're not just words, but they're really brilliant values that if we live by, um, you know, we can actually create magic for ourselves. And the fourth one I'm now looking to add is happiness,
Hmm.
because no matter what, people are looking for happiness, success, freedom, love, abundance in their life.
Very true. Very true. Well said. So I saw your success story of Vyom Electricals. Am I pronouncing the name rightly? Vyom Electricals.
Yes,
Yeah.
Viome Electricals.
38% growth under your guidance. Wow, that must be one success story you are proud of, I'm sure. So, how was the experience, and why do you consider, honestly, why do you consider that as your success story, the biggest, which made you mention in your profile also? Amay?
One very closely attached to it emotionally, because that was the first client I ever signed up.
Oh yeah, had to be.
Very very challenging for me to get through that client. And वो कहते हैं ना, कोई भी पहली चीज आप करते हो उसको भूलते नहीं हो.
Oh
After I
yes.
certified as a action coach, certified business success coach, I that was the first client that I ended up working with, or I started working with. And my client was very very skeptical about my credentials to help them achieve anything. Forget that 38%,
Hmm.
because they were living in, or they were based out of Kolkata, and I was in Mumbai. I said, ये
Oh,
कैसे होगा यार, दादा ये कैसे होगा. I
wow,
remember my client telling me, दादा ये कैसे होगा. मैंने कहा क्यों नहीं होगा यार, आपको सिर्फ विश्वास रखना है. Trust is what works, right?
fantastic.
And we started sometime in July, and the first time I ever met him um, was in December of that year, December 2021. So
Hmm.
when we were just getting into the third wave of COVID is when I ended up being there in Kolkata, and he had a very big office, big team. And the first thing that we did was, "Hi, I'm Ameya, and I'm Saurabh. That was the name of my client. I'm just so happy to meet you." And and he just came and hugged me. He said, "Sir, I'm so grateful that we have worked together, because
Wow.
had I not delivered these numbers, I wouldn't have been the number one distributor for." So he was representing Crompton Greaves in those days. He was one of the largest distributors of Crompton Greaves uh,
Hmm.
in in uh, in Kolkata. He said, "I wouldn't have bagged the award that I've always promised my father, that I would get him once I take over the business." So that was more of a moment of pride for me,
Oh, yes.
because see, it's helping someone realize their dream, making sure that they honor a commitment that they have made to their loved ones. Right? That's how the love flows. That's
Mm.
how the happiness for people flows. That's how they consider. It is not so much about the money, Rajneesh, and 38% is a number that we'd all talk about, and maybe one day we'll forget. But what I will never forget is that big bear hug that he gave, and he said, "Thank you, sir. आपके वजह से ये मिला."
Says it all. Says it all. Amay, you said the your first client. So I can imagine because I'm in the business of writing, creating, and publishing books, as you know. And I still remember my first client, who believed into me, and he's our very own, Vinod Patil from our chapter,
Oh,
who
lovely.
who believed into that model, and he was my first client. So that book which we created for him will always remain, have a special
Absolutely.
place in my heart, no doubt about it. Wow. So in this journey of yours, if you can, pick up some tough moment where you felt that, hey, it's not going my way, the way I'm thinking. Anything comes to your mind, Amay? Because Vayom was a success, great success, but I'm sure there would be some, where you felt that, oh goodness me, this is a very tough moment for me. How do I handle it?
Yeah, there was that phase, maybe towards early 2023, late 2022, when things weren't exactly working for me. My marketing was failing. My belief in me creating the type of content I was creating, the way I was approaching people was not working. And
Mm,
obviously, as human beings, right, it creates a certain level of self doubt. I went through that journey myself.
mm,
Uh, and I felt, boss, क्या कर लिया यार तूने? मतलब, you, s- you started where you really got that emotional high of doing what you always wanted to do. But when things are going tough,
mm,
uh, I was not probably prepared for that. And I spoke to people. But one thing I realized is that I have chosen this. This is all going to be part of the journey of growing up. So I just need to just hang in there. But
mm,
yes, there were tough moments. I didn't have a client. I just had one client and a few clients on and off that I was coaching in those days. Very tough, because that's when the doubt came through. कि बॉस सही कर रहा हूँ, नहीं कर रहा हूँ, आगे करना
mm.
चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए. So there's a lot of deliberation, a lot of it's that standard peaks and troughs type of a situation that happens,
Right,
and
right.
you just hang in there, saying that, "Hey, tomorrow, another day. Let's forget to what happened yesterday or today.
Mm,
Let's look forward to a brighter tomorrow." And that's that brighter tomorrow. Again,
yeah.
it started peaking. But there were tough times. I also had clients who would say, "Boss, आपके साथ जम नहीं रहा है, आपको और हमारा
Mm,
style जम नहीं रहा है." That's when the whole discovery of what values I need to be looking for to coach came through.
mm,
Uh, Initially, I was taking anyone and everyone that I think would give me money. And I realized very early in the game that, that's not what I should be doing. All
mm.
valuable lessons for me.
Absolutely. See, you just said about something which again is actually what my next question is about is the process, because I'm sure you have learned, you being an action coach, which is a very renowned body worldwide, and they groom a lot of coaches, I'm sure. But they would be teaching X, and when you implement the X, and then in the process you feel that, hey, this is not working. So it's a matter of how you evolve, how you choose your next customer, because these are all learning lessons. And the only way one can actually better yourself is by taking the experience from the past and making sure you don't repeat that mistake again.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I always tell this to my clients as well. Um, when driving a car, as much as you should look forward to great things, rear view mirror also has a purpose.
Hmm.
And that mirror, if used properly, saves us from a lot of accidents that we can commit to in the future as well, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Same is the case with business, right? Uh, and same was similar journey I had, because if I didn't look at the mistakes that I was making, I was very impulsive, I was very brash, I was very, just committing to anything, and realizing that, this is stressing me out, this is not aligning me with my purpose of getting into this world of coaching,
Hmm.
which is when I had to go through those dips that I would say that happened. And not that I won't make mistakes again. It's just that I'd probably make different mistakes and we
Hmm.
keep learning from it. Learning is the game, man. You don't earn before you learn without you learning about anything. So learning happens and then the earning comes through.
Oh yes, oh yes, absolutely. So good. I mean, now let's just have some wacky things around us. I'm very
Love to
keen to.
do that.
Yeah, yeah. So let's look at a superpower scenario, Ameya. Now, if I have to
Uh,
ask you that if you could pick one superpower to help your clients in coaching, would it be the ability to read their minds during meetings, or the power to teleport them to, escape from bad presentations? You are in the midst of something where you realize, oh God, this presentation is not working. What would you want to have as a superpower?
अरे presentation छोड़ दो, reading their mind is very important. You whether they are saying what they are really thinking is very important.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
I सर सेल्स बढ़ाना है पर फोकस करना है उसको कॉस्ट कटिंग पे। भाई इन्वेस्ट करेगा तो ही सेल्स बढ़ेगा यार।
Wow. So it's like many people who say that, I want lots of business. I've joined some networking organization. Oh God, I've done it. I'm sorted now. Now I'll get lots of business. Unless you don't put in, what is needed, unless you do not have that marketing budget, how am I going to get
How
that
am I going to
promotional
get
value?
it? Very simple, Rajneesh. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. That
Yeah,
cannot
yeah, yeah.
happen.
Very true. Well said. Well said. Absolutely. So there are some, coaching misconception. Let's talk about that. What's the funniest misconception someone who, you came across while, you were coaching? Did anyone actually, expect you to bring a whistle and make them run laps? Did they consider you a sports coach by any chance?
Not really a sports coach, but I was considered as someone who would help someone mend their relationships. Well, while when I look back, it was a very funny conversation. But the ad that I used to run is um, was to help people understand that as a business owner, you take a lot of stress, right?
Hmm.
And somewhere this person who approached me or responded to my ad, uh, responded to the fact that I'm really stressed, and it started showing in my relationship with my wife, with my son, with my
Oh,
father.
goodness me.
आप मेरी शादी फिक्स करवा दो, मेरे बच्चे को बोल दो।
Wow.
I said, boss, all that can happen, but what about business? बोले वो सब चंगा है सर, मैं चौधरी हूँ। बोला चौधरी हो गए सर आप, मैं वो काम नहीं करता लेकिन
Unbelievable. Wow.
it
I
was
can.
unbelievable. It was a conversation when now I look back, uh, I just laugh about it. But on a serious note, the guy really needed help, and what did I do? I actually helped him get connected with someone that I knew in Delhi. They would help
Are
them.
you serious? You actually did that?
I did that. Look, I'm here to serve in whatever way I can, right?
Wow.
And if I know that my little step towards helping someone would make them get better with some aspect of their life, I do tell them that, look, I'm not the one who can do it, because you need to have that level of integrity, right?
Yeah.
And just get them connected to the right people. One of the things I always look forward to every day is hope, which means help one person every day.
Wow. Hmm.
And I believe on that day, that was that one person who needed help through me, if not directly,
Hmm.
indirectly.
Wow, that's a great mindset, Amay. Very nice. Wonderful. So let's look at some forum where you came across something very weird, very very funny question which you were asked in front of 50 people who are attending your training session. Anything which comes to your mind, Amay?
I was speaking at a road track engagement,
Hmm.
and I remember this. I said just the thing that I said a while ago, that for us to earn, and road tractors, as you know, very young people, very energetic, highly motivated. और मैं दुनिया को तोड़ दूंगा टाइप, no, that todo attitude. And there's this slide that came up saying, so what this really means is that we all need to learn before we earn. And then this guy stands up, and I usually make those sessions interactive. He's like, सर ये सब तो ठीक है, लेकिन जो सर्किट्स पढ़ा रहे हैं ना क्लासरूम में, वो तो इतने पुराने जमाने के हैं, अब वो ऐसे पीसीबी भी नहीं बनता, तो ये पढ़ के कहाँ से कमाई करूंगा सर मैं?
Yeah, I actually did this.
And he actually did this. So
Oh
he
God.
was probably part of some electronic or electrical engineering course. Was a tractor. But you get these people and you don't have answers, right? Because I am not that technically qualified to tell
Yeah.
you somebody should teach you what type of circuit.
Believe me,
क्या
Amay,
पढ़ो?
this is all your presence of mind. If you can handle that situation, because anything can happen. It's
Anything.
not always that things will go your way. Sometimes some funny people are there. Sometimes they do deliberately. कि इसको
They
ऐसा
do.
कुछ question. Yeah, yeah, must be happening. I'm sure.
But you know what? I had a laugh with them. That's my way of looking at it. मतलब
Correct.
बात सही कर रहा है भाई, अभी पीसीबी नहीं मिलता, कुछ और मिलता होगा, जाके उसका स्टडी करते हैं, सर्किट चलो इकट्ठा करते हैं.
But I think it's a very important trait or character to have, something like this, because anyone can get stumped, anyone can get angry, possibly, anything can
One of
happen.
my earliest mentor always used to tell me, Rajneesh, if you can laugh at yourself with others,
Ah,
there's no better skill than that. And the sooner you learn to do that, the happier you will be, because
true.
you're not giving away your power to anyone. I mean, this is my little secret that I want to share with all the viewers when this gets, telecasted or released. It is very important to laugh at yourself.
Yes, yes. Well
Have
said.
fun with yourself, man. Don't get stuck. मुंडी डाल के, यार क्या हो गया यार, मैं कैसे कर लूँ, ये कैसा है, क्या सोचेगा मेरे बारे में, मैं स्पीकर हूँ, मैं कोच हूँ, नहीं यार, तू पहले इंसान है, तू भी
Correct.
गलती कर सकता है.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they say that, you take your work seriously, but don't be a serious man.
Yeah, precisely. Chill,
Yeah.
man. गलती सबसे होती है.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, in a typical inception business coaching style, if you could enter someone's mind, as you said, you chose the option of it's better to read the mind than worry about the presentations going wrong. So, in a typical inception style, and planned one core business strategy for success, what would it be? If you could enter someone's mind and plant one good strategy in their mind, what would that be?
I would rather plant the thought that marketing is not an expense but an investment. ये सब
Hmm.
अकाउंटेंट लोग उनको बोलते हैं, सर एक्सपेंस बढ़ रहा है, एक्सपेंस बढ़ रहा है, एक्सपेंस बढ़ रहा है.
Hmm. ROI कहाँ है?
आरओआई कहाँ है भाई?
Hmm.
टाइम लगता है, right?
Hmm.
It's like going back to good old saying, Rome was not built in a day,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
No business was built overnight. If you look at
Hmm.
businesses that have been built overnight, quick money जितना quick आता है, quickly जाता भी है.
Hmm.
To build a sustainable business, आपको you have to trust in that process of marketing, and
Hmm.
marketing consistently is very important. It could be
Hmm.
any form of marketing you are into, right? I'm not talking just digital, though
Hmm.
it's still a new age
Hmm.
mantra, right? Anything that you're doing, it comes to networking as well. If you don't show up every time when that networking meeting is there, right? Are you really marketable then? Are you really
Hmm.
present in to do what you want to do? So
Hmm.
that's the thought was, stay there. Matlab, it is not an expense, it is an investment. It's
Hmm.
rather the biggest investment you're making towards your business.
Hmm.
So that's that inception style thought, because that is where things start changing. That's when
Hmm.
you do that consistently, things start changing.
No, this is again very crucial for me to take a judgment. Amay, I'll tell you why. Because we are a product of an India which has drastically changed in the last 15 years. Yeah,
Absolutely.
15 to 20 years maybe, because that entire post millennium shift from 2005 onwards, I think a lot of things have changed in India. So probably, the accountants and the people who do not understand the value of marketing as an investment vis-a-vis, something like an expense, which they feel. I think we are in the last leg of that generation, who would still be pestering the
Yeah.
owners and the board, and going forward. And I realize this, I'll tell you how, is, our parents, our fathers, had a had names, the Chandrakants, the Suryakants, and the Sureshes, and everyone. And tomorrow's fathers are going to have a different name altogether. When our kids will say, my father's name is Ameya and Rajneesh. So it's a big generational shift which is happening, you know. And when these people will come into our roles and we would be get into those kind of accounting roles where we'll say, absolutely, we need to invest in marketing, otherwise which nothing will happen. I think this is a great shift which India is poised at, and things look very brighter to me. You know,
And
if
that is that is the concept of abundance, right? I mean, if you look at it, if you want to चांद तारे चाहिए आपको, रॉकेट में बैठना तो सीख, फिर
बिल्कुल
रॉकेट उड़ाना तो सीख,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
right? रॉकेट वहीं से निकलता है. Oh, if you go and look at that movie Rocket Singh, one of the
Yes,
best movies ever made, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Look at their focus. They just, the company that they used to work for, to what they made their own business by understanding what customers need, by putting themselves out there. They were doing very active marketing. That's why the sales were happening.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
even the work that you do, Rajnish, right? I mean, writing a book, it is such a powerful marketing tool.
yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Very powerful marketing tool. At least for knowledgepreneurs, people like me, like coaches, trainers, consultants. Brilliant strategy. Invest तो करो,
Sure.
result तो आएगा.
Very well said. So, as a younger self, if you could go back in time and give the young Amir one piece of advice before his first system analyst job, what would it be? And would he even listen to you?
Very good question. You really stumped me now. The advice would be that believe in yourself and your abilities. And trust me, the old Amay would, I mean, Amay would not believe in that
Yeah.
advice, because he was always somebody who never cared about anyone's advice and just wanted to do things his way. And and on the way to where he is today, he stumbled 20 times but stood up 21 times. So I still love that Amay.
Of course, of course. I mean, this is on a lighter side of my. But
No,
yeah, I mean,
but you know what? That stumbling is what brings out those stories for me, and I love those stories.
yeah, yeah, indeed, indeed. So on a unexpected day off, you woke up in the morning and it was a midweek, say, or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and you realize that there's nothing to do today. So what is the first thing you would think about doing in your first, at like a free time which you get? What would that be? There's no appointment, there's no client meeting, there's no Zoom calls, there's nothing today. Wow, this is a clean diary today. What would I do
Uh, Very honestly, I would look at my wardrobe and start
today?
putting things back in my wardrobe. It is so messy right now. I wish I have that luxury, and I am not getting that time. But really, man, I struggle to get things out of my wardrobe. I keep putting things in there, but taking it out and dumping it out has become a bit of a challenge.
I love this honesty of yours. Lovely. So, if you had a new tagline or a motto based on where you are now, what would it be? Get coached or get left behind?
Sorry, could you please repeat that? I missed the first one.
If your life had a new tagline or a motto based on where you are now, would it be get coached or get left behind? Or would
I
it
would
be
say get.
something else? Or would it be something else?
I would say get coached, because
Hmm.
in every sense, right? I recently met someone just 3 days ago. He told me I have one coach for my life, one for my business, and one for my health, and that is so important, right? Because the
Hmm.
three are the most important aspects of your life.
Hmm.
So get coached, because you don't know what that outside in perspective is, and that outside in perspective at times is what gives us the tap on the shoulder and say, सामने से ना एक मैक ट्रक आ रहा है, अगर तू लेफ्ट में नहीं हटा ना, वो तेरे तेरे ऊपर चढ़ के तेरे को तेरा चेंदा मेंदा करके जाएगा. हम लोग
Hmm.
मराठी में तो.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what a coach does to you, looking at
Hmm.
where you are right now. So get coached, guys. My appeal to people is, don't think कि coaching से कुछ नहीं होता है. Coaching से बहुत कुछ होता है. बहुत कुछ
Hmm.
होता है कोचिंग से. यहाँ से भी होता है, यहाँ से भी होता है, बहुत कुछ होता है. तो you have to
No, you
just
need,
open
you
up.
need eventually, am I, see, business owners, entrepreneurs, it's a solo journey, it's a lonely journey, and it's a one-way ticket. So you need someone to fall upon. You need someone to just talk something about,
Yeah.
regarding your business, your decisions. It can be just anything under the sun sometimes. Eventually, your coach becomes a great trusted friend, with whom you can discuss anything under the sun. So I think, yes, get coach behind is very rightly, as you say. So something like, let's imagine a Siri, your Apple Siri, yeah, could run one of your coaching sessions. What's the most ridiculous thing Siri would probably say in the middle of your business strategy conversation?
Oh, I've said this so many times. Okay. So I give this example of how people are accountable for the choices that they make, right? And
Ah.
if they don't want to do something, uh, we make excuses, right?
Mm.
Excuse is the name of the game. So I didn't realize I was talking somewhere and I was giving this example that I personally made this excuse once when I didn't show up for a meeting saying that my mother-in-law has come home, right? And so I can't make it because I'm meeting her after like 4 5 months or whatever. And probably Siri was catching me at that time. So, so, so
Wow.
when I was rehearsing my speech for another event, Siri just sprang up out of nowhere and said, "Do you want to give the mother-in-law example?"
This is hilarious. Samay, this is hilarious.
I said,
Wow.
dude, technology can be so intimidating to all of us. One इसके बाद preparation के time.
Wow, this is something you have shared today. I must say, Amay, really. Wow. So, have you ever had a client come in with such an out of the box business idea that even you had to pause for a second and say, hey, wait, what are you talking? How do you coach them through in such situations? It can be something very weird. So while you're very serious and suddenly he says something which just blows you up completely. Now, how would you handle that situation?
He wasn't really a client, but was a prospect that I was working with.
Hmm.
And it's not probably it now. It's not really as much I because I see it happen uh, a lot. But this guy came and told me, "Sir, we are planning to build a team or a business around Hindu funeral services. It's a reality. It happens nowadays, right?
Hmm.
But the way he wanted to do it was very simple.
Amish, slightly louder. Voice is
Sorry.
not
So
coming.
he was saying that I want to start a business around Hindu funeral services.
Oh, okay.
It's not a business that is not working. It's already a lot of people are doing it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But the way he wanted to do it was he said, I will use the WhatsApp strategy to tell people that remember me when you die. मैंने बोला भाई ये क्या बोल रहा है वो WhatsApp में कैसे करेगा वो कैसे पढ़ेगा तेरा WhatsApp में से बंदा तो गया ना भाई मैं बोला
Are you
तुम कहाँ
serious?
से आ जाते हो
Oh my God.
I will keep reminding them every day using WhatsApp. WhatsApp will call. He had the unit economics also worked out. Okay,
Oh
बोलता है 10
God.
पैसे का मैसेज है कुछ तो and then but the return is like I charge 20,000 for the entire package and everything. भाई मैंने कहा बात सही है किसको भेजेगा बोलता है जो मेरा क्लाइंट है मतलब क्लाइंट कौन है मरने वाला मैं बोला नहीं होगा ना मरने वाला is not your client. The family of the मरने वाला is your client brother.
Amay, I beg you, please call me for such sessions, yeah, really.
No, no, this was a prospect. It wasn't a it was a clarity call.
Oh my
I
God.
made it very clear to him that dude, you need to go and change your target audience. And I think that was the best advice he got from me, and we never worked together.
I'm sure, I'm sure. Oh my God. Wow, this is hilarious. So, so you have been in IT coaching and consulting.
Mm.
Is there any particular skill, in your journey which you accidentally picked up on? That, hey, I had not planned this, but now I've started loving what I'm learning. ऐसा कुछ हुआ? Something which.
So when I started in IT, it was a hard skill, coding, right? And I hated my job. I
Hmm,
realized by month 4 that I was not cut out to sit behind a computer, do coding.
hmm,
And I knew that I used to get this. immense pleasure just conversing with my clients on while solving their difficulties using the code that we were writing.
Hmm.
And I used to give myself a pat on the back when a client used to say, boss, thank you so much. This is very well done. तो मैंने कहा यार लोगों से बात करना उनको समझना और उनके प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना भी नाम का कोई स्किल रहता है एंड दैट हार्ट टू हार्ट कनेक्शन हाउ डू यू एस्टैब्लिश दैट देयर वाज नो प्रोसेस for me to learn through this. It was
Hmm.
all experiential, but it's like this. I just tell people that I want us to sit down and talk about things that I can help you with. Would you give me that time? And a lot of time people would say yes because nobody asks them that question. And I think
Hmm.
this skill that I have to
Hmm.
reach out to people and say, I'd love to talk to you and let's see how we can help you.
Wow.
I learned this no program, no coaching. Maybe I just learned it looking at my mentors from whom I learned the way you should be living your professional, personal life. Uh,
Hmm.
at different stages in my career, I had different mentors, and all of them uh, were interested in my growth.
Hmm.
And maybe that is where this concept, what they did to me, just sitting down, helping me grow. ये मैंने
Hmm.
सीखा है उनसे मतलब
Wow.
ये से ना आपने अपने गुरुजनों से क्या सीखा है ये मैंने सीखा है
Very nice. Very nice. Unless people don't open up in front of you, things will just not fall in in its place.
Yeah, I always say people always need four things in life. Human beings, very basic things. They like to be seen. So if you walk across and see someone and hey, how are you doing? They feel the niceness about it. They've been
Hmm.
acknowledged. If they come and talk to you, give them that attention. They like to be heard, right? When they are talking about something that they need help with, they need that level of understanding is there when they're talking to you.
Hmm.
And when they're asking you to, you know, ratify, validate something, they're actually looking for validation and they trust in your ability to help them get that validation.
Oh,
So
yes.
these four things are all that people need. And this concept, what I'm talking about, just sitting down and talking to people, when you look at it, it's either of those four things or all of those four things that people want from you.
Hmm.
That's why giving that attention becomes very important. And as a coach, I believe my biggest opportunity lies in listening to those things, in seeing what they're presenting, in understanding what they want, in validating what they want to do, in hearing things out. Because if you tap into that energy, no, and then you help them explore the options around it, go around it, go about it, that is when you have a very successful relationship.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent, Amay. Very true. I completely agree with you. I think it's a great strength which you have, I must say. And this is where, I mean, I would say this is your secret, if you ask me personally.
Yeah, in a way. Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Very
spilling too
nice.
many secrets today, yeah, Rajni.
So make it a bit light. If you were stuck in an elevator with someone who desperately needed life or business advice, and you just had 60 seconds before the doors could open, what would you say? It's not an elevator pitch.
It's not an elevator pitch. The first thing I would say, life advice to both of us. How do we get out of this lift, man?
Nice, nice. So, what if in coaching, if you could coach any historical figure
Mm.
from past or maybe present, someone who's there still, on improving their leadership or business strategy, who would you choose and why? Yeah, this is interesting for me.
Very, very interesting. Oh gosh, you really got me here. If there's one person that I would have loved to coach and would have said would make a difference to my coaching in their leadership style, it would have been Nanasaheb Peshwa, the person who led the Marathas into the War of Panipat, where they lost a bit. Right, that
Hmm.
decision to go and safeguard against a large force without understanding what was coming through from Ameya Pradhan, that was a big mistake, and that just brought the Maratha Empire down from a peak that it had set for itself, and to come down to the levels that it went down to. Uh, because the leaders before that, the great Bajirao Peshwa or the first Peshwa. They had made some serious sacrifices to bring the Maratha Empire to the top.
Mm, mm,
And then that one decision of Nana Sahib, and because his ego was bigger than the big leader, the leader that he really was, actually, wiped out all the prestigious things that the Marathas had built.
mm.
I would love to coach that person one day.
Great, great pickup, I must say. Because, yeah, I mean, history teaches you so many things, and sometimes you want to relate that with today's context. And that is where I can see that, you are relating there. So, absolutely. So, if you were to unlearn some skill you have, which one would it be? And would you still really learn it also?
Yes, I think I would, or not I think, I would surely unlearn all my bad habits about writing very one-liner, two-liner emails and would want to put some time in writing really good, well-documented emails. Um,
Oh, okay.
I'm very, very lazy when it comes to replying to emails. I'll make it one
Really?
liner, short, crisp. पता नहीं कब से है मेरे mind में, or one liner, and at times people don't get it, so they'll call me and do things and
Hmm.
boss, what do you mean? How do we take this to the next level of? Say, I have to, let me articulate.
Sure. So you are a dialogue man. You're not a
I'm more of a
monologue man.
dialogue. I love to talk. I mean, like I said, I'd love people to sit down, talk, because I think that human to human connection is much. But look, we are living in a world where all sorts of modes of communication is required.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have to live with that.
Super. So this is the last one, Amey. If you are stuck on a desert island, which book would be of great company? It had to be a book question at the last. Come on.
It has to be coming from Book My Stories, Rajnish Shirkad. It has to be a book. Um, uh, Someone who follows a lot of spirituality. I'm a spiritualist. It has to be Bhagavad Gita and then Das Bodh written by Ramdas Swami, who was a spiritual guru for Shivaji Maharaj. Both people that I have utmost respect for because of the kind of times in which they lived and the kind of work that they did in the times that they lived, right?
Hmm.
Exemplary figures, if we have to look back at history. I take a lot of inspiration and learnings from history. It really teaches us a lot of things. I
Yeah.
mean, writing that voluminous book at a time when he wrote it and just decoding the messages coming out of it is a lifelong learning.
Yeah. I mean, it's the relevance, isn't it, Amey? Whether, both the books
So
which you
relevant.
mentioned, it just fascinates you, isn't it? The kind of the depth of the knowledge, the applicability, irrespective of whichever era it is. I think that makes it more and more special. And I'm sure another 5,000 years ahead, also there would be people referring to those books.
Absolutely. There's no reason why. See, and look at the timeline since Bhagavad Gita ever existed. It's at least 5,000 years.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least. Maybe more,
yeah.
maybe less, plus minus. Nobody really cares. But the
True.
relevance is still there. The same with Dasbodh. You look at it, it is a teacher telling his student, how do you lead a life which is full of good virtues, which will give you the results that you want in any aspect or any areas of your life. And
Hmm.
this coming from someone who's supposedly not even a person who got into the day-to-day household kind of things. He never married. I mean, Ramaswamy never
Hmm.
married. The stories around how he led his life. Uh, to inspiring a leader, the tallest leader that this place where we all live has seen. It is just amazing, yeah. I mean, look at what mindset he had. Look at how highly he thought about everything in life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Superb. That gets us officially to the end, Amay. But I will want to, ask you to, express yourself or as a passing comment as your last thought on coaching, on your profession, generally anything.
So yeah, I would just like to close one first and foremost, Rajanish. Thank you so much. It is always good to come out
Thank you so much.
on podcast on these talk shows and talk to friends who love doing what they do. So a mutual respect for that love that you have for your profession.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. Thank you.
The other thing I'd like to say, people, guys, life is very simple, and it's pretty neutral. We all give it meaning, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
choose the meaning that you give it, right? That
mm,
decision or that choice is always in your hand. You may say what happened with me today was either too good or shit, but then you are giving it that meaning,
mm.
right? So
True.
choose what your life happens for you, not to you.
Wow. Mm.
Everyone says that. मैंने तो कहीं से चुराया, पर that is what it is. The day we realize this, life happens for us and not to us, I think we start getting sorted in life.
Superb. Thank you so much, Amay. Lovely words. I had one of the best last 45 minutes with you, believe me. So many things, it was good, it was fun, it was very serious learning as well. One can sense, I'm sure your clients enjoy the coaching which you do because they would be getting more and more of Amay the way I got today, 45 minutes at a stretch. So that was real fun. Thank you so much. Cannot thank you enough, Amay. We'll keep meeting, but this will remain special because this is my first one with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So glad to be part of your first taste off. Thank
Thank
you.
you, brother. Thank you.
Good
Bye.
evening and have a great rest of the day.
See ya.
Bye
Bye.
bye.